Hello and welcome to Netflix vs. Cinema. My name is Tosin and I am the host of the podcast that goes to the cinema every week, watches a couple of films. We actually have 3 this week. We have 3 films at the cinema for the first time in ages. And stays at home, watches a similar number of things, rates everything out of 5, and sees where money has been better spent this week. As I said, my name is Tosin. I am based up in the United Kingdom, somewhere in the middle, place called Bromsgrove. And joining me as always on the Isle of Wight are Sharon Bollen.
Hello.
Shaun Harris.
Hello there.
And our London correspondent, who is too busy being high-flying and highfalutin with a high-paid job and everything like that, Holly Neslin cannot join us today. But we shall crack on. No, we shall crack on regardless. So the first question is, obviously, what have we seen at the cinema?
Well, at the cinema, I have seen Cuckoo. I went to the secret screaming, and it was Cuckoo. The film was Cuckoo. I watched Borderlands, and I've seen Trap.
Yes, say Borderlands and Trap. Trap is going to be interesting because I also saw Trap at the cinema, and I think Sharon, you saw Trap as well, did you?
I also saw Trap at the cinema.
Oh, I am so happy that we all saw Trap at the cinema.
Yeah.
I am so happy.
It doesn't happen very often that we've all seen something at the same time.
At the cinema, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, shall we say. And at home, with Netflix and friends, what have we seen?
Okay, well, I've seen both seasons. I did a binge watch, both seasons of Mindhunter.
Mindhunters.
Yeah, Hunters, which was, I mean, it's quite an old one, I think, 2019, 2017.
Yeah, it is a bit old, yeah. It is a bit old. It was when David Fincher, when he was in his Netflix phase, doing his House of Cards and his Mindhunters and his Manx and all that kind of stuff. All right, cool. So, yeah, you saw both seasons of Mindhunters. I think this is the only 2 seasons to date. I'm not sure if they're making any more. And and I saw Slip on ITVX, which was something that I just saw, which I didn't even know this was coming out. I was like, ooh, good, because it was written and directed by Zoe Lister-Jones, who I quite like, and so I was happy to watch that. And Interview with the Vampire, which I have been hearing good things about, and so I decided to finally actually watch it. And so, so that's what we have. Shall we? No further ado, we don't have any correspondence this week, so let's just jump straight into the reviews, especially because I feel we might be on this first one for a while. And this is Trap. This is Trap. I mean, okay, Sharon, seeing as this is the only thing that we are talking about this week that you have seen, and we're doing it first, so you're going to be sat down there saying possibly nothing for a while. Yeah. Would you like to give us the synopsis? What is this? What's going on in this film? What's going on in Trap?
Well, The Trap, as in Trap, is an elaborate ruse to trap a serial murderer called the Butcher.
Yeah.
And intelligence has been gleaned by the FBI and various law enforcement agencies that the Butcher is going to be at a concert of a singer called Lady Raven, who is going to be performing this concert with the adoring crowds there. And the intelligence is that the Butcher is going to be present with his daughter. And from the get-go, we know that the character played by Josh Hartnett is the Butcher.
Yeah.
It's no secret. It's in all the trailers, and so that's no spoiler. And the story unfolds that he is there with his daughter, and he becomes aware that something is not quite right, because he is a man who is, even though he is immoral and ruthless in his sort of killing spree, he's not a stupid man. So sometimes you may question some of that bit later on. But the idea is that he's not a stupid man on the surface of things. And so he identifies that there's a high police presence and there's a lot of extra security. So he does know that something is not right. So he soon finds out that he is the target of this elaborate ruse to be caught. And so the film unfolds is in him trying to evade this trap, using various means at his disposal. And as the story unfolds, you get to see the various aspects of his character. And then the seemingly mild-mannered family man, you see that veneer crack as the film goes on, as more and more of his sort of characteristics become apparent. And then it all builds up to a dramatic
conclusion.
Denouement.
But you see that as usual, Sharon, very, very well and expertly done.
You're masterful.
That was masterfully summarized as to what this film's about. And I I think I'm happy that you mentioned about like the sort of the mask clip in it, because I think first things first, let me say I think Josh Hartnett is brilliant in this film. I actually quite like him in this film. I think that he's quite good. You see this whole different things that he's holding in his head at one time, and when you see it coming in, and okay, I don't know whether to go straight for the jugular in this, but I was watching this film thinking, man, Shaun's not gonna like this, and a real reason why I was thinking Shaun's not gonna like this because I'm not liking this.
There are a few moments where you're thinking, "Gosh, that's convenient, isn't it? Isn't that handy?"
Okay. So it's a film that makes you okay. So the central premise of it, where they go. Because I started when I was like, okay, even from the trailer, I was like, okay, the setup is quite nice. This guy has got into this thing, he's walked into this trap, and it's how is he going to get out? And I think that there's actually once you get past the idea that, because my thing was, okay, so they somehow know that this guy is going to be at the concert. They somehow know he's going to be at the concert, but how are they going to catch him? How are they going to know it's him if they come across him? And I was like, okay, that doesn't okay. But if you put that aside for a second, I think that whole bit at the concert is actually quite tense and it's well done and everything. But there's one bit at the film. There's a bit that the film gets to, and once something happens, it's like all the air gets let out of the balloon. It's like all the air gets let out of the balloon, and then from that point on, I just found myself, and I was in the cinema, and I was actually muttering this out loud, going, "This is stupid. This is stupid."
Yeah, I mean, as you say, it's that last third, isn't it, when you're thinking, "Oh, well, that's convenient. Oh, yeah. Wow, look at that worked out really well for him, hasn't it?"
The thing is, what I can't understand is they've gone to all this trouble. I mean, they'd have a really damn good idea, and then
that budget for that police
this guy
was
can
enormous.
Get places, and I'm sure because like the people they're picking, he's like, and he can seem to go through everywhere he wants to go, and they don't seem to question at all. I'm just making a coffee. And it's like, come on, you would be, and all I'm going to say is as well, going back, I mean. With he's in his private life. I mean, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but because it's part of the family life, what he is, his profession, right?
Yeah.
You know what he is, and then there's like a door, and it's like, you're a fireman, for God's sake. You know what I mean?
I just think
it's just like even stuff like that, and it's like just happened to be at a place just where they're. The FBI are revealing everything they're going to do. It's just like,
yep. I think this.
I'm just going to finish this. And some of the things he does is they would all be on. There would be people with CCTV saying, "Oh look, he did that. Oh look," and they even say, "Oh yeah, we got it. He might cause a die." But you know what I mean? They'd be like, "Oh yeah, look."
Yeah, because you have a character played by Hayley Mills. I thought that might tickle you, Sharon. I thought that might tickle you. That we had the great Hayley Mills in it, and we had a character played by Hayley Mills in it. And there's a bit where, and I agree with you, Shaun, that this is the kind of thing that I know when we had a whole thing about the Invisible Man and about how things were so convenient. And there's a bit. Okay, let's say that there's a bit where he manages to get a radio, sort of Die Hard style, to figure out what the police are saying. And the thing is that every single time he puts it in his ear, because obviously he's beside his daughter, and every single time he puts it in his ear, it's at the right exact moment for a piece of exposition that says, "And now he'll probably do this," and he goes, "Ooh, I better not do that then."
I actually wrote a list today, and there's at least 42 things. 42 things.
42
with plot holes. 42, and there's probably a shed load more that I could. If I even thought about, shall I just record myself having a rant about these?
Do it, man. Do it. We'll put it on the YouTube channel.
Send it off shortly. But, and here's the kicker that I was thinking is, I mean, yeah, there's the bike thing at the end, but I just wondered that maybe this is all the stuff that he's imagining, and that's part of I was trying to think, well, maybe that's not the actuality. That's him, becoming. He is the butcher. But I mean, that might be thinking too much into it.
Maybe you're trying to give it some sort of sixth sense. Oh, look, watch it again and see everything has like a double meaning. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I just wondered if there might be, he might, because I was expecting, even though he's got dementia, I was expecting someone like, another character come up, because it's a one-word thing like split and glass and.
Yeah.
So I wonder if this is going somewhere else, but I doubt it very much.
I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't.
Right, yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean, even down
I'm
to the last
glad you agree with me, though, Toes. I'm glad you agree with me.
No, I was watching this thing going, Sean's not gonna like this, and this is the film that. Like everything Sean's gonna say about this, I 100% agree. It's like even before I've spoken to Sean about it, I'm like, yes, Sean, I agree with you. That is stupidly convenient. That is just plain stupid. Why would you do that? So M. Night Shyamalan, he has this habit of cameoing. He cameos in pretty much every film that he makes.
Yes.
So whenever you watch a M. Night Shyamalan movie, there will always be, if you watch it, if there's an Indian-looking guy who happens to be the worst actor in the film, that is the director. That is M. Shyamalan, and he does that in this film as well. But also, he has the Lady Raven character is played by his daughter. It's played by his daughter Salika. And I have to say, I think she goes to the M. Night Shyamalan School of Acting, because there's bits where she's on stage and some people say she's supposed to be Taylor Swift, and I know people have criticized the concert in this film because they say, oh, she doesn't have the courage to be a Taylor Swift. That doesn't look big enough. But no, I don't think. I think that she's more because I remember going to the O2 in London. And it looked like that place where they had the cinema, where they had like the chairs on the floor, and it looked like that. I saw Mary J. Blige, I saw Alicia Keys there. It looked like that, and I think that she's more around about that level, about that level, not quite a Taylor Swift or anything like that.
Yeah,
but there's bits.
I was going to say, and with that story, I think was he like the stage manager? You were saying was that Shyamalan?
So, he was her uncle. He was like an uncle, like sort of like.
If someone told me a story like that, I'd think, oh, that's
it's like pull the other one. Pull the other one. Get lost.
Pull the other one. Exactly.
Well, he must hear that about 20 times, surely. I mean, like every other parent would say,
"Wow, that's it." Another lucky.
It was convenient. It was convenient, and there's a lot of things that are convenient. But I mean, there's bits where the bit where Lady Raven is on stage and she starts having like some sort of banter or like gets her from the songs. I thought the songs were all right. I thought the songs. For me, I thought the songs were actually believably this could be a pop princess. I thought that. But the bits where she's sort of like talking to the audience and everything like that, I was just going. Oh no! Oh, that's so wooden! Oh my God, no! and I think as the film goes on, there's some bits where she's not that, but there's things that because that character, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say that character becomes a bigger part of proceedings. So it's not just the fact that they're at her concert. There's as the story goes on. No, sorry. I know Oscar music. I know we've been talking for too long, but this needs to be said. We need. This is like therapy after watching Trap, but but there's things that character does that I'm like, that is literally the dumbest thing you could do. That is so stupid. I'm like, wait. In what world does that seem like a good idea? How do you see this ending any other way?
Toes, do not like high profile stars have at least one major bodyguard, probably loads. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And security and a personal assistant and a bodyguard and an entourage. It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna do this.
All there is a helmet.
Yeah, you wait there, and I'm just gonna go do this thing. Nothing wrong with that, is there? Surely.
Essentially, what it feels like with this, right, is because I think M. Night Shyamalan, he does a lot of his films independently. He does them independently, and I feel like things like people say he works with his family. I'm like, I don't have a problem with that. It keeps costs down. I get it. But I feel like with this, he almost kind of goes, ooh, there are some scenes I would like to see. I would really like to direct the scene where this happens. I really like to direct the scene where this happens. And he just tried to figure out all the conveniences that needed to happen to make those scenes happen. Because there are just 1,001 things that you're looking at and you're going, well, that will stop that right there. Why the hell is that going on? Why aren't they saying something? Why are the police doing the briefing there? Why is it's just, and you're just kind of going, what the hell is going on? And then the way the film ends, it kind of like, I'm just kind of like, oh no, I just get lost. I cannot be bothered. I really cannot be bothered. Which is sad because, as I said, I like the people in the film. I think Josh Hartnett is good. I think the actress who plays his daughter is actually quite good, and she's not like there's a massive potential for that to be an annoying child actor, fill in the blank, and she isn't. She's actually quite good.
She was quite convincing, wasn't she? Especially at the concert.
Yeah. So. Really, she's convincing. I like Alison Pill.
My daughter.
I thought it might do. I thought Alison Pill. I thought that the whole interaction between Josh Hartnett and his daughter, and I thought there was good things that could possibly be there. I think that the setup at the beginning is quite nice and tense, and so
that's it.
But it just gets, and excuse the term, Sharon, pissed away.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, I've got a whole list of stuff that I could
okay, no, Shaun, record it, send it to me. I'll put it on the YouTube channel as a spoilerific rant for Trap.
I'll do that tomorrow.
But essentially, my enduring refrain for this film is, this is stupid. I just kept saying that out loud in the cinema. This is stupid. But anyway, how many stars would you give Trap?
Well, I'll let you guys go first.
I actually will give my friend a nod because Rachel, it's her birthday today, so happy birthday, Rachel.
Happy birthday, Rachel.
We went to see this, and she actually enjoyed it. And I think afterwards, when we were talking together, she says, I'm only beginning to watch things critically since I've been listening to our podcast and since I've been actually going to the Switch Zoo, because she's often just enjoys it. It's like, yeah, that was fun, and goes. And she says,
so what she's saying is that we've ruined cinema for her. You're welcome, Rachel. You're welcome.
So I think, she enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it because we were there. We were just letting it wash over. But critically watching it, I'd say there is an entertainment value to it. So I would say I think it still deserves a 3 because it has an entertainment value, even though I was watching it thinking, behave.
They're so clever. Those FBI guys certainly got it worked out, haven't they?
And there's a few things because I said afterwards that there's no way on earth that he would have, like, I'll just say one word, like bicycle. I was just like,
oh my god, that was so annoying. That was so annoying. I was like, what are you? How dumb are the lot of you?
I know, and that's it. And then the little, and then the nice cuddle and not getting searched. It's just like, come on, man.
So there's things like that I was at the time. So but it still had an entertainment value. So I wouldn't say that I hated it, even though I was sort of going, really, that's so convenient. So for me, I would still give it a 3 because I still think, yes, it has an entertainment value to it.
Okay, I came on here, and before we started talking, I was thinking just about a 3, but I think I've talked myself into a 2. I think I'm talking about. The more I think about it, the more it's the kind of film where I can understand. If you're watching it, you might let it wash over you and everything like that. But it's a film that it diminishes as you leave the cinema.
It doesn't stand up to any scrutiny at all.
And as you start, as your brain switches back on, it just sinks like a stone. I'm sorry. I think it's a 2 from me.
Yeah. For me, I'll agree with you on that point. I did think the concert was quite good. I know some of you Everything at the concert, I was actually quite happy with. There were a couple of I feel like it's okay. Let's put this at this point. Let's say for people who haven't seen the film, at some point the concert ends. And almost everything after that is a bin fire. Almost everything after that really is.
Everything after that is just kind of like, this is so stupid. It's just stupid.
So what I'm going to say is I'm just going to give it the 2, but then I'm thinking along the lines of that it's just all in his imagination and there's something going to explain it in another film. So, but it's still only a 2. It just annoyed me. You can, Toes, you were going, this is stupid in the cinema. You imagine me. I mean, I was on my own watching it. So God knows what the audience, they must have all been looking at me thinking, what is this dude doing?
So maybe had I seen it with you, Shaun, I might have given it a 3 and 2 as well. Because I saw it with Rachel and she was enjoying it, and we both enjoyed it. We had a good time at the cinema. I think that heightened. I was probably a bit more tolerant than maybe I would have been if I'd been with you, Shaun. Yeah. So I would still give it. I'd still say it for me. It was there's 3 because there is an entertainment value to it, even though it does defy logic almost entirely throughout.
Honestly, right. This is so. On this podcast, we talk about Shaun, and we talk about Shaun and Shaun's body language when he's watching the film, and whether Shaun has a sort of like very languid body language if he's enjoying the film in the cinema, where he's almost sort of like sinks into the sea like it's a bucket and everything like that.
Yeah, he's like
almost horizontal.
You're like stretched out.
Yeah, if he's enjoying the film. And if he isn't enjoying the film, he gets all fidgety and all that. And you can feel like it's almost like he can just he's fighting everything in his body to pick something up and throw it at the screen. And Shaun, I was mimicking your body language throughout this whole. Honestly, I was watching. I was just going. Oh, for goodness sake! I was sitting up. I was like tapping my foot away. I was looking at my watch. I was like, "Will you end already?" So it has to be a 2 from me. But anyway, that is enough for Trap. It is. When I came out of the cinema, I was to make things worse as well. I came out of the cinema to realize that somebody had backed into my car and not left a note, had put a dent in my door and not left a note and driven off. So it was all. But I already thought this one was a 2 before I actually got to the car. But I came out of then going, you know what? I can't wait to talk about this film on the podcast.
I know. That's it.
I was just like, I really hope Shaun has seen this. I really hope Shaun has seen this. All right, cool. And so that's 2.5 stars for Trap. And now we're going to go over to ITVX or Netflix and Friends, and we are going to talk about Slip. And as I said, Slip is a show that stars Zoe Lister-Jones, and she plays someone who is an art curator. She's an art curator in New York City. She works at this museum. She's married. She's been married for a while to a guy. They're around about their 40s and all that. She meets up with her. You see at the beginning of the film, she wakes up and every day it's kind of like the same routine because they've been married for a while, so it's the same routine. She meets up with her friend, Gina, who is like, who's a friend. They grew up together in a foster system and all, and that's her friend is like perennially single, and it's like, oh my god, you got it so great because you got it so great because you've got married, you found your person, every day and I've got to go out on dates, and she's like, oh my god, but don't you think it's great and everything like that, you actually get to date. It's like after a while, and there's this line that she says is like, after a while, when you've been married for a while, it's like you're just single together because you have your own lives and you do all the old kind of things, even though you share a bed, but it's like you're single together. So they go out. They've been working on this big exhibition for a while. Her husband comes on, and her husband is kind of self-involved. He's kind of like a struggling writer, and he kind of goes, "I'm not enjoying myself. I'm going to go home." And she meets somebody at the gallery. Goes out for a drink, and she ends up going home. With this person, having sex with them, and then she wakes up the next morning and everything's different because now she's married to the person that she had sex with. And she's married to the person she had sex with. He's like a rock star and everything like that. There's all these things about her life that everybody thinks she's in the news all the time, and she apparently has a drug problem, and she doesn't. She's like, what the heck's going on here? And she's trying to get back to her husband, and her friend calls her, and and it turns out that her friend Gina, she's like, what? I don't understand what's happening. What about my husband? Where's Elijah? She's like, what are you talking about? You're married to a rock star and everything like that. You live this great life. So everybody, as far as she's concerned, her life is totally different. But nobody else seems to notice that. And what turns out is that and what happens is that you end up finding that essentially she slips into another dimension every time something has happened. Never really explained, but she slips into another dimension every time she orgasms. And so what happens is that you have this TV show that goes through, and she goes through, it's almost kind of like another way of looking through what my life would have been like, And it's almost kind of like her going, there's a TV show called Love Life, which stars Anna Kendrick, and it's about all the different people that she went through before she found the person that she actually ended up with. And this is kind of almost like a twist on that, but it's kind of like saying something about, I think it's saying something about sex and the power of sex and the power of emotion and all that kind of stuff. And how do you actually find out what you really want in life? And if you have this chance to go through all these different things, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and all that. And it's written and directed by Zoe Lister-Jones, who I love. She is one of these actors who I think is not a big enough star, quite frankly. I feel like she's not a big enough star. I feel like she's talented, she's great. Well, yeah, fine, I'll say she's beautiful. But and I like the tone of this. I like what they're trying to explore with it. I'm not sure it will work for everybody, and I'm using this whole sort of multiverse thing where she sort of slips, I guess, into each new thing, and in each one of them, she's trying to get back to the life that she left, because now she's beginning to think, maybe it wasn't that bad. Yeah, maybe it wasn't that bad. I'm seeing all these different lives. And where it ends up, there's sometimes you spend one episode in a universe, you spend 2 episodes in a universe. There's only 7 episodes. And there's a bit towards the end where it sort of like comes back to where she has a chance to get back to what would probably be her universe. And she delays it, and even that makes sense. I feel like the characters are well drawn out. I feel like what it's trying to talk about, there's this whole sort of Buddhism idea in it as well, which she seems quite interested in. I thought it was quite a good show. And it was a very quick watch. All the episodes are less than 25 minutes. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, they're all less than 25 minutes, but obviously you have the ITVX adverts and all that kind of stuff. You have a lot of adverts, but the episodes are not, and I really liked it. I thought it was good, and I think if you can, I'll say for the Sharons amongst us, there is a copious amount of nipples.
Uh-oh.
Yep, butt cheeks. You get that and everything like that. This show does not shy away from the sex. Let me put it that way. And you just have that as a warning. But all in all, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was actually quite good, and I thought it was it's a different take on the whole. Excuse me. It's a different take on the whole sort of like, it's a wonderful life. It's a wonderful life thing of what would my life be like if this had happened, but it has baked into it a way for her to get back. But it's good, it's funny, I think it's great, I think the performances are good, I think the writing is good, I think it's sharp. I would give it a 4 out of 5. So I would recommend Slip on ITVX.
Cool.
Yep. And now we go back to cinema and we're going to talk Borderlands. So
Borderlands.
Shaun, Borderlands, based on a video game. Kate Blanchett shooting things up and all that kind of stuff. But so tell us about this.
Okay, Borderlands. So basically this is obviously it's based on I've never played the game, so I didn't really know. So basically the story is, it starts off with the couple of characters. They rescue this young girl. They break her out of prison and take her away, and then you get the credits, and then it goes to who owns the little girl. So the father of the girl needs her back for a certain purpose. So they go to a bounty hunter, the lady bounty hunter. I've forgotten all the names now. Anyway, so Lilith. So they go to Lilith. They say, look, we want. She goes, oh, I've come from that planet. I never want to go back. And he goes, well, we'll make it really worth your while. So she goes back to the planet, and this little robot thing finds her and says, oh, I know where she is and all that. Yeah, Claptrap, the little robot Claptrap. Thanks. Yeah, you'll have to tell me all the people. So anyway, she finds them. And there's a bit of an altercation between the two groups, so between Claptrap but then it turns out they sort of have to join forces. So and then basically they go on an adventure, and they nearly get caught in loads of traps, and they nearly just go through a game, I suppose, a bit Mad Max-ish, shall we say?
Wasteland adventure.
Wastelands, yeah. So you've got like cannibals and not very nice people, and then you've got like a professional mercenary force that don't handle themselves so well, for professional soldiers, which is always my beef. But do you know what, Toes? I thought this was good fun. I enjoyed this. Yeah, I know.
Oh, good.
I know it's got. So I quite enjoyed this as a little romp. It certainly rips everything off of other movies. I mean, for instance, Claptrap. Just think R2D2, with a
yeah.
So with a little periscope that little projector that more or less says everything doing. And I quite like this little team. And for a fantasy movie, when they do stuff, Claptrap's quite funny. Some of the traps they get into, and they get escape and they get injured, and yeah, I mean. And is she called Tiny Tina?
Tiny Tina, yeah, played by Ariana Greenblatt.
I mean, is she anyone famous, or is this like her first?
She's been in quite a few things. Obviously, she was in Barbie. She was in Barbie. She was in Love and Monsters.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, Love and Monsters.
Anyway, yeah. I quite like her character. And she's a bit of a explosive expert, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she really likes her cuddly toys, and it's like, oh, so
walking around with bunny ears all the whole time, yeah.
And Claptrap is funny. I find him really, really funny. He's almost indestructible as well, so they send him off on missions,
Played by Jack Black.
Yeah.
So that I'm actually quite happy to hear you say that, because obviously it was between Borderlands and Trap. I'm glad. I think I made the right decision to watch Trap, not because I enjoyed it.
Just so we could have a conversation, because I was looking forward to that conversation.
Yeah. And also, it was the only one that was on at 10 o'clock at night. But Borderlands is something that I do want to see. I know a lot of people have compared it unfavorably with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
They've completed that. They just kind of go, this is obviously the kind of film it's trying to be. But for you, so I was just saying, but you actually enjoyed it. So.
I actually enjoyed it. Yeah, I didn't think it was, funny enough, I didn't like the trailer. And finally, at the trailer, I thought, no, this doesn't look very good. So it's like I've said to us before. I think if you go in with the expectations of a film, of it not being particularly good, then you can quite enjoy it. But sometimes if you go in with high expectations, you can be a little bit disappointed. So but with this, I mean, I really liked the characters, and even Jamie Lee Curtis, I quite liked. So, I mean, what else can we say about it? Really, it's just a big adventure romp with Star Warsy type things and Mad Max. It's a cross between Star Wars and Mad Max. And in the finale piece, Lilith, sort of becomes something special, should we say?
Well, let me just put it this way. I think the trailer, whatever you said about the film, I did feel like Cate Blanchett just looked like she could kick ass. And it's like Cate Blanchett looked at you like, man, why hasn't you done this before? I want to see more of Cate Blanchett in kick-ass mode. So it was good. But how many stars would you give this?
I'll give this a 3. I'll give this a solid 3. I quite enjoyed this. Yeah, no, it wasn't a masterpiece by anyone, but I didn't dislike it, and it was much better than I expected. It was good fun. Yeah, so I think this deserves a 3-star.
3 stars. So 3 stars for Borderlands.
Yes.
And that's one of the first times that we have finished before the Oscar music plays us off. Well done, Shaun.
Thank you. I do keep my eye on it now.
Can be done. It can be done.
Yeah, showing us the way.
Not just the shark films.
Yeah. Oh, good Lord, shark films. Shark. But anyway, now, would Trap have been made better if there was a shark in it?
When that underground thing came up, if there'd been one like
been a shark just sort of swimming around underneath the stage. All right, cool. So now let us carry on back to Netflix and friends. This is actual Netflix, and we're going to talk Mindhunters. Mindhunters. This is David Fincher's TV show, which is about the early days of the FBI sort of serial killer profiling unit. That I believe that's what it's about. So it's based on true life, and he has like a whole bunch of different serial killers who show up in this, who are actual people, who play characters in this. So I think it's even like, and it's like a who's who. There's a Charles Manson at one point and all that. But played incidentally, Shaun. I think you might find this interesting. Played by the same guy who played Charles Manson in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, I know. Look at that. I mean, that's uncanny, isn't it? That's the.
Okay. Shaun is showing us a picture of the actor playing Charles Manson and the picture of the actor Charles Manson, and that is actually quite scary.
I mean, one thing about they say when they're interviewing Charles Manson, because he wasn't really he didn't do any of the killings. He didn't do anything.
He just made other people do it.
Yeah. They said to the profiler, they said, don't mention anything about his height. Do not mention anything about his height. And he was a tiny bloke. Because I found this series really, really interesting. It was the early days. It starts off as the early days of serial killer profiling. And it's a little team that gets together. First of all, it starts off with 2 detectives, and their boss is not particularly happy. Their boss is like, you can work in the basement. If you want to do this stuff, you've got the basement. They send them down to the basement. They get joined by a psychologist from Stanford University. And so there's a few, as well as interviewing the serial killers, there's also a lot of little plots about, because the professor that joins him is a lady. She's a lesbian, but she doesn't want to be known as a lesbian because of the era it is, and she could get in trouble and all that. So she's got funny. So there's all these little side stories, but the serial killers are uncanny. I have not seen. I mean, when they go, so they start off with like, they say Son of Sam. I mean, that's the actor. I mean, do you reckon that's CGI, or do you think that is? I mean, the black and white one's the proper David Berkowitz, and the actor. That's just like.
I think that's just makeup. I think it's just good. It's just a stupidly good makeup job. I think good casting and good makeup.
Yeah. So the whole thing of this was, it's just a really, really top series that I had to totally watch it, and it was like, so they're trying to find other killers. They interview these. It's Ed Kemper. He's like the first one that comes across. He's really intelligent, and they say, what? He goes, a lot of them is to do with their mothers. A lot of them is to do with their mothers.
They say that, don't they?
Yeah, a lot to do with their mothers, and how they were when they were growing up. Whether they were neglected by their mothers or their mothers were horrible to them, and So with Ed Kemper, he said, my mum used to hit me. She told me I was no good. She told me I was worthless.
I just realised that this is a serial killer heavy show.
Yeah, same with the trap, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's why I thought it was.
Didn't he have mum issues as well?
I was going to actually say that. I was going to say it's quite funny that we come on this, but no, that and things. But there wasn't a lot of nastiness in it, of the actual, there wasn't of the people doing the crimes. There was in the second series the people doing the crimes. There was in the second series, at the start of all the episodes of the second series, there was a BTK killer, which was another one. So I don't know if they're going to do a third season. If they do a third season, obviously, because it ended, and I don't know if they're going to do a third season. But the first season was excellent. The first season was first class. The acting was first class. As I say, the characters were creepy, some of them. Especially Berkowitz. Just, I mean, the actor just sort of chilled you out. And anyway, so gradually, the boss that didn't really like the department, he ends up getting the sack basically, and because they're doing good work, a new person comes and he says, look, I really want to develop this psycho killer, so now you can go and see, Manson. So the two of them go, and they need the two of them because there's one of the ones goes to visit Ed Kemp on his own. He said, come here and I'll give you a big hug. And if I could, he says, that they changed their brake now and I could break your neck. And he's like, ugh. And he's sort of palpitations. Anyway, lets him go. But so there's some really, really good scenes in this. And I was compelled to watch this. The first season, absolutely great. The second season is quite funny because there's these murders in Atlanta. And they decide to go down, and the profiler says, I think it's a black serial killer. And then all the black people in the project, and they're like, oh no, it's a clan that's doing this. So he comes up against a lot of should we say, in the mayor of the city, who's the commissioner, who's black, saying no, we can't be. So there's this whole thread of like they keep getting bad leads, and he goes, I'm telling you, it is a. And then the guy thereafter, or the guy he thinks it is, they sort of arrest him. But anyway, it's all it's just
because the thing about this show is I always wondered, because it's based on fact. It's based on fact, and I think that David Fincher is quite a stickler for the facts and all that.
Yeah.
Does this become anything more than just a filmed version of a Wikipedia article?
There's a few other stories. I mean, they've all got their obviously they're away on the case a lot, so there's a lot of side stories. One of the detectives, his marriage is not going so good. His son has done something rather horrid, so he's sort of trying to balance it. As I say, you've got the personal relationship with the professor lady, and other professors. So there are little side issues, but yeah, and I mean there is a lot of investigation. They do the investigation in it.
Sorry, I think that was mainly my fault for asking that question. But...
Yeah, no, that's fine, that's fine. So yeah, so I have to say, well, good old Fincher stickling, because it did feel authentic, for me. But I'm gonna have to break this down. The first series, I would definitely give a 4, definitely 100% a 4. Second series, I would give a strong 3. It didn't quite have the impact, although, but yeah, I mean, it was incredible, the lookalikes. I mean, after watching this, I sort of looked and I thought, my God,
yeah, and
especially the son of Sam, he was creepy. I mean, interviewing them must have been, because they're quite smart. Some of these guys are quite smart.
Yeah.
So first series of 4, second series of 3.
All right, cool, good stuff. And I believe that's based on the book. And if you like hearing Shaun review things, and if you agree with a lot of I know superfan Nina, she says that she shares a brain with Shaun. You're in luck because Shaun, it's you again. You going around and keeping all these cinemas open on the South Coast. Yeah. So we now have a film called Cuckoo. And this was like a secret screening. So it was like a secret screening for Cineworld, but it was a horror movie. And this was it's
going to be a horror movie from the get-go.
Yeah. And I haven't even heard about... Actually, wait, maybe I have heard of this. Hunter Schafer. Maybe I don't. I don't know. I don't have heard of it. But anyway, go for it, Shaun.
You would have liked this one, Sharon. It's such a shame.
I think I have seen a trailer for this. And I think I marked it down as a possible.
Yeah. So I was thinking that as I was watching this, I thought Sharon would like this one because it's more of a thriller and it's not like it's So basically, let's start off with the story. The film before the titles come up. There's this. You see this teenage girl in a room, and then there's this strange vibrations and this strange call, and she runs out off into the woods. And then the titles come up, and you go to this story of you've got. A husband, he's got a new wife and a new daughter. And his first wife has died, and their first daughter goes, and she's really mixed up. She's a teenager. She's all pretty much, cut up and all that. Anyway, and they go to this retreat, and the young girl, the stepsister, starts getting these vibration-y things or like that. Anyway, so the girl gets a job at the resort, and she keeps seeing these ladies throwing up, being sick, and all some strange stuff. And one night, while she's cycling home, she gets chased by this, which was really, I mean, I thought that was a terrific scene, and it nearly made me jump. Anyway, she gets chased home, and then strange things starts happening. I don't really want to give too many spoilers away, but there's this lady that makes this shrill sound, basically. So it's like a shrill sound. And then the girl gets sort of captured and locked away, and they say, "Oh, you're going to have to, you're going to stay here." There's the weird owner who's very strange. You get, like when you meet those people, it's very strange. And it turns out that her father and his new wife had actually gone there, and that's where they had conceived the stepdaughter.
Okay, I'm beginning to get the title of the film now.
Yeah. So and yeah. So you can probably understand why. So they went there, and that's where this who's mute, by the way. She's mute, but she can make these sounds. So it all turns out along the lines that there's something really, really strange about this resort. And then you get this strange character who's like a retired policeman or got the sack, whose wife had gone there and something had happened to his wife. So they sort of team up together, the older daughter and the detective. And then it gets a bit silly. There's a bit of a shootout, shall we say, and a bit of investigation and a few injuries. But let's just say and then in the finale, that lady that chased her on the bike turns up, and and also the girl at the,
I know. Sure, we're getting to spoilers.
Okay, we're getting to spoilers. So basically, there's this family. Something's happened there before. It all goes a bit strange. Some strange people turn up and do strange things. That at the back there, that one, that's not the daughter. That's something that happens. There's a special, should we say, there's a special lodge where things go on.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I'm looking at the people who are in the film. So Hunter Schafer, I haven't seen much of. I know that she's in Euphoria, but Dan Stevens and Jessica Hennick. I mean, those are people. I'm like, oh no, these are good people. These are good people, and I like a lot of their choices when they're in the film. So it makes me think that it will be something interesting. It'll be something a bit different, a bit quirky and all that. But what did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. I was surprised because I was expecting the normal, night swim or something along those lines, or something, horrible. So I think I was quite surprised by it. And people actually stayed. People stayed because normally at these screenings there's like half a dozen people get up and go. So everybody stayed for this, and it was a good watch. I think it was better. What was the film we saw, Sharon, with the bird? What was that called? Do you remember that Swedish?
Hatchling?
Hatching, yeah. The hatching, yeah, whatever.
Hatching.
Anyway, so it was better than that. And
I quite liked that. I thought that was a bit quirky.
I know, I remember.
I'm weird.
A bit quirky. Yeah, this is of a similar vein. And obviously, I mean, the title of the thing might explain it all, but it's really quite interesting at how it develops with the stepdaughter that was conceived on the premises. So, I probably won't give any more than that, but
no.
Let's just say
you've got 11 seconds.
I will give this a real solid 3 stars.
3 stars. 3 stars for no, you don't. No, I couldn't click the button in time. Okay, cool. But okay, so 3 stars for Cuckoo, which is not being released in cinemas in this country anyway, in the UK, until the 23rd of August. So this is a bit of so it's a bit of an
exclusive.
A bit of a heads up. Yeah, wow. 3 stars. Shaun could recommend it. It is a horror movie, a modern horror movie that did not put Shaun off. That did not make Shaun go, this is rubbish, this sucks, the ending is rubbish, I'm going to burn the whole world.
Actually,
almost made you jump. Hey.
Almost made me jump. I almost got a jump out of me. I was like, whoa, that was interesting. So, yeah. It's worth a watch. Sharon, I probably would I wouldn't mind going to see this again, actually. So maybe I'll go with you again, Sharon. But it's worth a watch.
If it appears our way again.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that may not.
Some of them never come again. Yeah. The secret screenings tend to come and go.
Yeah. All right, cool. And now we go back to Netflix and Friends to finish off with Interview with the Vampire, which I saw on BBC iPlayer. And so
I've seen the first 2 episodes of this as a mini disclosure, so I understand the premise of it.
All right, cool. But Sharon, you must have read the book.
Yes.
Yeah, you must have read the book, and obviously this the first time I ever heard this title, it was in the 90s. I think it was 94 when it was a movie starring Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Kirsten Dunst's first screen appearance. That I've got to be honest with you, I didn't really understand that film when I watched it. I remember seeing Christian Slater. I remember hearing the Rolling Stones playing over the closing credits, but I did not really understand that film. I didn't understand what was going on. And now this is it's an adaptation of Anne Rice's book, Interview with the Vampire, the first book in the Vampire Chronicles. Or the first season is it's an adaptation of part of the book. And the main thing I have to say about this is I know that the book is different, but this film has transplanted the setting. So I think the book is set in the 18th century or something like that. That's where it starts.
Yes. Just after the American Civil War, it starts with Louis the sort of New Orleans vampire.
Yeah, with Louis but in this one, I know that it's been transplanted to. It's still in New Orleans, but it's in.
Yeah, but it's 1920s, is it?
It's 1920s. A lot of it stays with 1920s. So I think it starts when it starts off in the aftermath of World War One. And this time round, Louis de Pontdulac is played by Jacob Anderson, who you might recognize from Game of Thrones. He played Grey Worm. And but they've made the character black. And the thing about it that I have to say, which is watching this show, if you knew nothing about the book, you don't see the join. You don't see that, oh, this is not what happened in the book. Because there's sometimes when, they, even though I've never read the book, I watch something and I go, oh, I can see how they changed that. Oh, that doesn't quite fit. This all seems seamless. This all seems like this is what the story was always meant to be and what was always written like. The fact that he's a black man in 1920s New Orleans, and that all fits seamlessly into the storyline. When a character of Claudia shows up, the way that comes in, the motivation makes sense, how everything goes with it. And it makes me almost going to want to read the book and go, how was this ever different? Because this story just seems to fit. It does seem to fit. The performances are brilliant. I mean, Sam Reed as Lestat. To begin with, I wasn't sure because he wasn't what I imagined Lestat would look like in my head.
He didn't. Yeah, that's what put me off because I did read all of the books.
Yeah.
Well, they went on for a long time. I read the first 3 or 4 of the Vampire Chronicles, shall we say. And I watched it and I was like, nah, this is too different to me. So I didn't really get past the second episode, I'm afraid.
Well, I can imagine that would happen if you had a lot of things because they changed the thing of the interview. Originally, it's this journalist having an interview with the vampire, and the vampire is telling him his life story. But even this, they have done the whole thing where they switched. The vampire is now living in Dubai in the present day, and this is the second time he's met the interviewer, because he originally met the interviewer when the interviewer was a young man in San Francisco in the 70s, and now it's like 2020 something. It starts off in COVID pretty much because they're wearing masks and all that kind of stuff, and I think that's quite an interesting thing, a vampire during COVID. So there are all these changes that they've made, but I feel like the way that they've made them, for somebody who doesn't have as much of a connection to the book, I thought that they're done very, very well. And I was watching this show. I was watching the show kind of going, I was thinking, well, it's based on a book. It's based on a really big tome. I'm not sure how propulsive it's going to be, but I think the storytelling is just excellent. The way that they mix the voiceover with what happens back there, with the motivations of the characters, with the human thing of what it means to never grow old when you're watching your family grow old and they're wondering what's wrong with you and they think that you've gone to the side. I just thought that it was really well done. I thought Jake Amson was good. I think Sam Reed, I eventually warmed to him as Lestat, even though in my head originally I was thinking, you're not suave enough, you're not seductive enough, you're not French enough. But after a while I was like, I got over myself and I thought, okay, no, that actually works quite well. And when Claudia shows up, I think Bailey Bass, who plays Claudia, is excellent.
Is Claudia still very young? Because I think in the books she is very young. She's like 5 or 6.
Yeah, in the book she's about 5. They age her up, and I think for TV,
because it'd be impossible to film those scenes with a very young child.
It would be horrible. It would be horrible. They age her up. I think in the TV show she's about 14. She's about 14, and the way they handle her as well. And there's a bit where there's a whole section where the narrator switches from Louis to Claudia because he's looking at Claudia's diaries, and that is just done so well. And I was watching this film, I was watching this TV show, and when you're watching a TV show, you're kind of going, well, I mean, it's just like, it's telling us pedestrian story through the years and everything like that. But you're thinking, but this is good. This is really good.
How old in the vampire world is Claudia? I mean, I know she's like, because I mean, I'm thinking back to the film now.
Well, in the books, she's made a vampire when she's sort of like 5 or 6, and she lives to be something like 90 or 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So still as a
5-year-old child. That's the dichotomy. That's the sort of the whole dichotomy of her character.
Right.
In her mind, she's aged, but her body never has.
Right.
And so some of the scenes where she resents the fact that she was turned so young, because she obviously has never had that experiences. When her mind recognizes that she wants to have certain experiences, and she just basically can't.
That was excellently put.
And they in the TV show she becomes a vampire. She gets turned when she is 14. And so essentially she has all these teenage hormones going in there, and they do a brilliant job of the fact that they become this sort of weird family where she calls them Daddy Lou and Uncle Les. And they become this weird sort of family, and there's these 2 vampires trying to raise this vampire kid who has all of the impulses of a teenager, with all of the power of a vampire.
Wow.
and it's just done so well. It's just done so well. So by the time this show finishes, by the time the show finishes, she is round about 40. She's round about 40. And so she's been alive all these years, and there's a whole thing about how the people in New Orleans react to them. And I just thought this was really good. I was so impressed with the way this was done. I was so impressed with the way that it was something that could have been pedestrian. They made it good, and I was a bit shocked. I would give it a 4 out of 5. And
so could I just ask one question? Do they feature the dolls in this program with Claudia? Does she have all the dolls with the long hair? So the dolls that look like, they're creepy, aren't they? They're really horribly creepy dolls, but they look like little girls. They're the ones with the long hair, and they're dressed up just so, and people collect them, and they are almost like life size. Are any of those in it?
No, they are dolls.
No, that's quite a big thing in the book.
There are dolls in it, but the dolls do not match that description.
Yeah, basically all the dolls look like Claudia.
No, that does not match anything that I saw in the show. Yeah,
because when she's a little girl, she's got all these dolls. Yeah, because that ties in directly to Anne Rice. She collected all these little dolls.
Yeah, because there was the whole thing about Claudia was written as because of her own daughter. She lost her daughter.
Her own daughter, at that age, yeah.
So so that bit isn't in there. That bit isn't there. I know Anne Rice and her son Christopher were involved in the making of this and okayed everything. But as somebody who isn't beholden to either the 1994 film or the book, loved this. Thought it was brilliant.
You have to take it away, haven't you?
Yeah.
You have to. Sometimes you have to separate these entities from their source material to what's inspired it to what it becomes. You have to treat them as separate entities. Yeah, because sometimes I hate that, but other times I think that actually does work with some material.
I think a lot of the changes they've made the story relevant. Again, it made the story relevant because there's some bits of it that it would have been a bit like, let's do vampires, but everything is Bridgerton, and
And I think they've ramped up the sort of homoeroticism in this a little bit more. I think because in the books, a lot of things are suggested, whereas I believe in the film it's not suggested. It's all out there.
In the film, let me put it this way: I remember
the television program.
I remember watching the 1994 film and thinking, so are these guys? Is there like an attraction between them? Oh, I guess there isn't, because the film in '94 just kind of pretty much cuts that whole thing out.
Yeah.
The TV show pretty much runs headlong into it.
Because in the books, it sort of suggested that sort of Lestat especially is sort of has sort of he's sort of the sort of pansexual character.
Yeah,
he's attracted to anyone and everything.
Yes.
Yeah. And whereas Louis is not. The only sort of he's more sort of a straight guy.
No, well,
straight vampire.
Well, in this it's definitely it's a love story. This is like a gothic love story between Louis and Lestat. But Shaun, I think you'd like it.
Okay, I might check that out then.
All right, cool.
I didn't mind the film.
So the next question is, who do we think has won this week?
I think streaming, probably.
I think streaming, because I think Trap was. Some of them thought it was Claptrap, and I thought it wasn't too bad.
Yes. I think even without Trap annoying the life out of us, it would still have been a tough week. It's still been a tough week, and this week it is Netflix and Friends. It is streaming that has won it. Right, until next week when God knows what is in the cinema, because I don't.
Aliens.
Oh yeah, Alien Romulus. Romulus. Yeah. Oh.
I'm looking forward to that. I have seen one trailer for it, because I normally try to avoid trailers of things I want to see, because I'm like, please don't spoil it for me before I even watch it. But I like the fact that there's some nods in there that I recognise and I respect so far.
Well, I think I've heard that it's quite noddy. Like it knows what it knows. Okay, this is.
It's gone back to its original idea. I think
it's like it knows this is what we're playing with. It knows this is what. and it knows what it's playing with. So yeah, Alien
and
Romulus.
Its core audience, hopefully.
Yeah, yes, I think from everything I've heard, it definitely does know that. So Alien Romulus is about the only new thing, unless you want to watch Ryan's World, the movie, and that is a big fat no from me.
That's a no from me.
That's a big fat no from me. Ryan's World is so annoying. But anyway, until that time next week, it's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me.
And I just want to say one thing.
Yep.
Hamilton. Okay, thanks, yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us.